I can do that.
Hold
All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. If everybody will please stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. So, Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Connell.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Irons.
Here.
Commissioner Stensland.
Here.
Commissioner Tennant. Zach has indicated he'll be late, but for now, we'll identify him as absent. Oh, and there's Ragnar. So we'll let the record show that Ragnar has arrived.
Thank you. Welcoming new members.
So we have two new planning commission members. At the end of last year, there were three positions that were up. Commissioner Connell, Commissioner Layton, and Commissioner Carberry. Commissioner Layton and Commissioner Carberry both indicated that they did not wish to be reappointed. Commissioner Connell did. And the city council took that action. And then they went through quite a deliberative process and appointed both Commissioner Stensland and Commissioner Taylor. So welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to ask for some background from your
Yeah, I guess since you're the only one here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Give
I'm on the
us a little
spot.
background.
I'm on the spot.
Yeah.
I teach at the high school. So I'm a language arts teacher and drama. And I don't know, what do I need to tell you? I've lived in Boardman. The first time I moved here was in 2015, and then I had left and came back about, let's see, in 2022, about 4 years ago. So
What interested you in planning?
I just kept feeling like I wanted to be more involved, and I saw it come up and thought like, oh, there's a way.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Mr. Taylor's not here. I'll just share a little bit about Rod. Him and his brother have been farmers in the region for years. They're getting into development. Rod did spend about 12 years, I think, on the county planning commission. So he brings a fair amount of knowledge about process. He's going to have a little bit to learn about urban planning versus rural planning, but provide us some good new insight. So welcome to you both.
Okay. Next we have election of officers. So, and
Let the record show that Chair Parisi has arrived. Let you pass the book back. We're at item E, election of officers.
Yes. Late. Okay. All right. Have we had any discussion or nominations?
No, we just got to this point.
Awesome. All right. So we have two positions we need to elect for, chair and vice chair. So start with chair. Is
The way it is.
you want to leave it the way it is? Is anyone
I'm so for that.
anyone interested in the chair? Let's just ask that.
You want to do the chair? It's Janelle, right?
D. Jolene.
Jolene. So wrong. Okay,
No.
Jolene, do you want to chair?
I don't think I know enough about it yet to do that.
Right. Let's look at you, buddy.
Maybe next time.
Interested? You done with it? I serve at the will and the pleasure. It's up to you. How about I take it this year and then next year? I'm good with it. It is a learning journey for me. So
Okay. I move that we vote Chairman Parisi as the next chair, as continuing chair.
Second.
So we should, there's a motion.
That was a motion.
Yeah, I would hear a second. Is there a second or no? A second. Okay, so all those in favor say aye,
I
Aye.
and all opposed?
Did anybody hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, okay.
anyone opposed? Say nay. Or boo? Okay, all right,
I just wanna
passes.
say boo, but
Yeah. Okay, vice chair, is anyone interested? Vice chairing. Sam is the current vice chair, by the way. Phenomenal job.
Tough over here.
why did you do this? Move to re-elect Sam as vice chair.
Second.
Motion and a second for Sam as vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Oh, I am aye as well. Hearing none. All right. So samesies. Okay, that works. Okay, approval of minutes. We have minutes from, what was that last meeting, December 18th? Did anyone, did everyone get a chance to read them or see anything that did not look correct? I would entertain a motion to accept minutes either as read or with any amendments. Something.
What's that?
It's your turn.
I'll move to accept them as read.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second by, we heard by Mr. Irons. First, or Vice Chair Irons, I should say. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as read, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Say no, and I'm aye as well, sorry. I'm tired, I apologize. Okay, passes, minutes approved. Next, we are public hearings.
So
This-
Chair Brucey, I've got an amendment to the agenda as originally published.
Okay,
So the application on your agenda, the public hearing item A, that is RVW 25-000057 with KPFF as the applicant. They have withdrawn that request.
okay,
So there's no action tonight. You guys don't have to do everything. Everything happened behind the scenes.
perfect, okay.
Yep.
All right, so we are effectively ignoring that public hearing. We do have a continued public hearing, which is amendment LND 25-000005 with Unity Partners LLC as the applicant.
So that would be a motion and a second. I wonder if we're getting picked up because I didn't turn my mic on. I don't know. I'll turn my mic on. Now I know you can hear me. I can hear me. So I'm going to ask you guys to pull your mics up and use them. Because sometimes it's hard to pick up on for the recording. So on this one, all we need is just a motion to continue and the time, date and place are identified there on your agenda.
Okay, there's no movement on that then? Okay,
There will be.
okay.
Yep.
If we're gonna continue this, do we even need to open a public?
No, you can just simply continue it.
Um,
All right, so I move to continue amendment LRD 25-000005 to the February 19th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second it.
is that the 19th? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so motion and second to continue then the LND 25-5 until February meeting, February 19th. Motion and second. All of those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? I think that was everyone, none opposed. Okay,
Why are we continuing?
no new information is
Okay.
to present, so there's nothing to meet on.
Yeah, it's a workload issue, to be real honest, Commissioner Connell. So once we get past like this hearing tonight and the council's hearing of this, the first part of February, this particular staff member will feel like she's got a little bit of breathing room to do some of these other things.
Not to backtrack real quick, but what happened with the wastewater treatment system?
They withdrew the application. I mean, I really don't know anything. We raised some questions. After we put it on the agenda, we started talking internally a little bit more about it. And we reached out and asked some questions. And after we asked some questions, they withdrew the request. So we have a little bit of insight into what's going on in the background, just because a member of the team here has some connections, but an actual explanation, no, they just simply withdrew it. They did indicate they're reevaluating and they may come back. So, yep.
Okay, so we have one other public hearing, which is a request to adopt the EOA, the Economic Opportunities Analysis. For an update to the comp plan, governance plan goal 9.
You do have a script in there to,
Go ahead.
should be tab 1, 2, tab 2.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Man, I was already open to it. Okay, perfect. Okay, okay, so hearing on the adoption of economic opportunities analysis is called to order. City Boardman is the applicant. So this request is to adopt the EOA as a guidance document for plan update to the City Boardman comprehensive plan to inform goal 9 economics. This is the first of at least 2 public hearings, with the final hearing before the City Council. The public hearing is going to be conducted as follows. We'll start with a staff report, and then we'll move to testimony in the following order. Testimony in support of the application, testimony opposing the application, neutral testimony, and then any rebuttals if there are any. After that, we'll close the public testimony. After the record is closed for testimony, no other testimony will be heard from anyone unless the Planning Commission has a specific question. Planning Commission may ask questions of staff, after which the Planning Commission will discuss the matter and make a decision. Planning Commission may make a final decision tonight, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain in the future. If the matter is continued, this will be the only notice of that date and time you will receive. If anyone wishes to speak, please fill out a testimony form and submit it to the planner. I will recognize people wishing to speak. Any questions should be addressed through me. Please state both your name and address for the record when you come to the podium or in Zoom land, since the hearing is being recorded. Please keep your testimony concise and to the point. Any testimony should be on the action under consideration and address the substantive criteria. The criteria that apply to the decision are listed in the staff report. Failure to raise an issue in sufficient detail to allow the Planning Commission and the parties the ability to respond to the issue prohibits an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals, or LUBA, based on that issue. Similarly, failure to raise constitutional or other issues regarding any conditions of approval in sufficient detail to allow the Planning Commission to respond to the issue prohibits a lawsuit in circuit court on that basis. At this time, I asked members of the Planning Commission to disclose any conflict of interest. Please indicate the nature of the conflict and whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. Hearing none, Planning Official Carla McLean will now present the staff report.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair Parisi. I'm going to be very brief because we have available tonight the consultant team, Brendan Bunkley with Johnson Economics and Andrew Parrish with MIG, who produced this document. The EOA itself, as well as the EOA was predominantly produced by Johnson Economics. The buildable lands inventory was a primary product of MIG, as well as both the comprehensive plan and development code provisions that have also been provided to the city. However, those are not in front of you tonight. We are only looking to adopt the EOA itself, not the other component parts. The Planning Commission preliminary findings of fact provide some background information, and then they provide the three very simple approval criteria that our development code has for this kind of action. We need to make sure that the approval of the request is consistent with the statewide planning goals, and that it is consistent with our comprehensive plan. When you read through the staff report, you find those are very similar because our comprehensive plan does just simply reflect the statewide planning goals. The goals that are applicable are 1, which is the citizen involvement goal, goal 2, which is the how do we plan goal, and then goal 9, which is the economics goal. I think one of the great things that comes out of this work, there's really 2 things that come out of this work that I think are very, very beneficial. One is we get an EOA by which we can look at our employment lands and figure out, do we have enough? Do we not have enough? And I'll let Brendan get into the details of that. And then I think the other thing it has provided us is a memorandum with suggested changes to our comprehensive plan. And I think that will be coming in front of you here fairly soon. So just stay tuned as we move through a lot of changes that are coming. The final criteria that we have to look at is an odd one as we look at each of these plans. And you've seen the very similar staff report for the TSP and the Parks Master Plan. The third criteria talks about if the property in affected area is presently provided with adequate public facilities, and it goes on to say that there is no specific property associated with the EOA. The EOA looks at all employment lands, either current or future. What do we need? Where are we at? What kind of changes do we need to make? I think our best way to think about that is at the point in time that we do a zone change, or at the point in time that we rezone land, or at the point in time that we do an urban growth boundary expansion, those public facilities questions will be asked and more adequately answered. If you don't know what property you're talking about, it's hard to give an analysis of a property. So it's kind of a generic kind of finding there. But that would kind of conclude my part of the staff report. I would like to just take a moment to introduce both Brendan Buckley and Andrew Parrish. I think Brendan will start the presentation, and we'll need to allow screen share. Aurelie, thank you. I think most of you, well, Jolene, you and Mr. Taylor as new commissioners were not there. But here a few months back, we did have a joint city council planning commission workshop on this topic, and a number of you did attend that. So some of this will be a repeat, and for that reason, I did kind of encourage Brendan to, focus on the high points and tell us what we needed to know. But again, do not hesitate to ask any questions that you might have of either him or Andrew or myself. So without further ado, Brendan, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Carla. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. My name is Brendan Buckley. I'm with a firm called Johnson Economics, and we work on this EOA with our partners at MIG. Andrew is here representing them, and so we have a little presentation to give, just to give a refresher of what this project is and sort of what the major components are, and then also the main takeaways. So before I start that, Carla, I have kind of a point of order question. We do have slides in here about the comprehensive plan and development code recommendations. Would you like us to hold off on talking about that tonight if that's going to be coming later in the process and is not being included directly in this public hearing?
Probably.
Okay,
If questions come up, we can certainly address them, but I think generally, yeah.
okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, I'm going to share presentation here. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. What is an EOA? It's Economic Opportunities Analysis. This is part of the Goal 9 process, part of the comprehensive planning process that is required by our state planning system. So that's why we've been undertaking this. The major components of it are a statement of economic objectives, a discussion of local, state, and national economic trends, a discussion of target industries, and then a forecast of job growth in different industries that we translate into a need for land. And then we compare that to the land inventory, which Andrew will be giving more details about. But that's an inventory of the current land you have for employment uses, meaning a land that's zoned for commercial, which is typically retail or office, or zoned for industrial, which is, for your industrial uses. So and then finally, coming out of that, we have findings of how your demand, 20-year demand is compared to your current inventory, and what does that mean going forward. And so we have some findings and some recommendations. So this is all basically what's in that document. This is basically kind of the table of contents of the document that was included in your packet. Just to look at your employment profile real quickly, the important part of the basis of the findings of demand. This is what your current employment looks like. You have about 3,500 jobs, manufacturing, which includes sort of your food processing and food manufacturers in town there are a really big part of your overall employment, but also transportation, warehouse, so that's the distribution function of some of your manufacturers, and then also utilities. And then you see how some of the other employment sectors make up the remainder of the employment. So what we do is we start with that as the basis, and then we talk through this process with the advisory committee that we had at the last joint session, work session that we had with this planning commission and the city council. And we talked about target industries, what it is the community would like to see and foresees going forward. So we start by looking at what are your largest sectors now, what is doing best relative to national trends, what has been the fastest growing, and then what's the target industries in the area. A very important one is data centers, as you know. That's been a growth industry, both locally, but then also countywide and in Umatilla County as well. So coming out of that, we come up with our employment forecast. There's sort of a baseline forecast that we do that comes out of the state methodology, and that's based on the population forecast. That is sort of provides a baseline, but it's not sufficient, especially given the trends that Boardman has already experienced. We know that the growth has been and will continue to be faster than that. So we do what's called an adjusted forecast, and that is the one that is included and recommended for adoption in this document. The adjusted forecast forecast growth of 2,300 new jobs over the coming 20 years. That would be growth of 65% over your current and about 2.6% annually. That actually is a little bit more conservative than what the annual growth that you've seen over the last 10 years. And so it's a very defensible, I think, realistic growth forecast for us to use. So you see on the right that the sectors that are forecasted to grow the most. So a big one is information sector, which includes those data center jobs and data center development. So that's a big part of the forecast going forward. We know there's a lot of demand and a lot of that activity already, and Boardman is certainly able to capture more of that. Another large growth is the construction industry. That has been growing very quickly in the region related to all that data center development. And then more or less growth in other sectors to help support that growth, but also in sectors where future development has been identified as either a target or even specific growth is known about. So healthcare is an important one, and also leisure and hospitality, which captures hotels and tourism related growth. So in all of those cases, adjustments were made to reflect the greater growth in those sectors that is. So we take that job forecast and we translate that into a need for real estate in commercial and industrial lands. We do that by looking at averages of how much space each employee tends to use in those different industries, and then how much of that helped us come up with a estimate of physical, like square footage of real estate that's needed. And then we know averages of land coverage for those types of buildings, how much land they each need to accompany, to include parking and landscaping and so on. And that helps us get to an estimate of the amount of land that's needed and the number of eighths by different sizes that are needed. Real quickly, this is a major component of the study. Again, is the data centers. This is the typical sort of prototype that has been developed in over the last 5 to 10 years in Morrow and Umatilla County. These are what we have been calling a hyperscale data center campus that includes the 4 buildings. But long story short, we know that these take an average of roughly 125 total acres. So that's what we were considering when we looked at the need for future sites for data centers. So this is a look at the 20-year employment demand. We've broken out the data centers on the right. So in the middle is the need for commercial land and industrial land for types of industrial users other than data centers. So that comes out to a need of about 125 acres. And that's just sort of gross acreage need. It doesn't, that's not yet getting into the types of sites and sizes of sites that are needed. So we'll talk about that more in a moment. But then on the data center side, there's a forecasted need for 5 sites of the 125 acre sort of average. So that's a need for 625 acres, and those are all in what we would call large sites, large site demand. And so all of this together is a total of about 750 acres. And next we will have Andrew talk about the buildable land inventory before we talk about comparing the two.
All right, thank you, Brendan. So yeah, as Brendan mentioned, we put together the inventory of buildable land for employment uses for the city of Boardman. This graphic kind of illustrates the fact that we start with all the land in the urban growth boundary, and we narrow from there to just net buildable employment acres. So we take out land that is for residential uses. We take out land that's already developed. We take out floodplains, steep slopes, other constraints, and we're left with just net buildable acres. And looking beyond that, some of these properties might have infrastructure constraints or might have property owners who aren't just interested in developing, or there's other market drivers. And so those are the types of things that after doing this inventory, you can look at from kind of a policy perspective and say, how do we unlock that land that looks buildable on paper, but might not be for these other reasons. Next slide. So in the city of Boardman, we separate everything into employment land and residential land, as shown on this map. The yellow areas are residential. There's some other land that is primarily kind of federal ownership here, but that's based on the city's comprehensive plan designations, the yellow and blue here. Next slide. Here's a map of the constraints. So all the data we have comes from either the county or the state. maybe a little bit from the city itself, but mostly the county and the state. So we have floodplain areas, a little bit of steep slopes, primarily around kind of the highway and areas leading up to that. The BPA, Bonneville Power Administration right of way that runs through town, we're considering that not developable. And wetlands from some statewide inventories that have varying levels of kind of accuracy, but they're the best data that we have for the region right now. Next slide. So for employment lands, we look at what's been developed on sites and what might be, maybe there's a little bit of a structure improvement on a site, but there's room for further infill and development. And there are state laws about how we calculate these types of things. So we followed state guidelines, and so the red areas here are developed. There's some yellow parcels that have a little bit of development on them. But are available for further development, and then the green spots are vacant lands. And as Brendan mentioned, especially for employment land, different users have very different needs for sizes of sites, and so we categorize these into kind of smaller sites, going up to, I think the biggest site in the UGB today is between 40 and 50 acres. And it's got a commercial designation on it. So this table here and this map form the basis of the comparison to need that Brendan's going to discuss further.
That's right. Thanks, Andrew. So just note here that there are very few large sites remaining. There's one site between 40 and 50 acres remaining in the inventory, but other than that, all the remaining sites are less than 20 acres in size. So as we move into talking about the comparison of the 20-year demand versus that buildable land inventory, we see that in gross sort of acres, there's technically enough commercial land and industrial land for the non-data center uses. There's no land suitable, or there's no sites available that are suitable for data center development because those sites are very large. So there are none of those sites, and so that shows a deficit down there in the right corner of 625 acres. Again, this is talking about just in gross acreage terms, but we in the study we get into talking about site need and specific site requirements for the different industries that the target industries that we've identified. So what we find is beyond just, sort of the finding that there's enough acres, there are not sufficient medium and large sites to meet the forecasted need going forward, and that includes on the commercial side. So we've identified the need for 2 commercial sites of roughly 20 acres, or at least 20 acres. So that's 40 acres of commercial land that's still needed. The sites that are available don't meet those criteria. And then on the industrial side, there's a need for many more sort of medium to large sites, including those data centers. And so that adds up to quite a bit of acreage. So in terms of the sites that are needed, it adds up to an estimate of 17 total sites needed to be added to the inventory, and it adds up to about 800 acres. So that's quite a bit of acreage, but remember that 625 of those acres was identified for the data centers. So that's 77% of the total. And with that, that is the summary of the major takeaways and the big findings. There's also at the end of the report a discussion of some possible economic development sort of strategies and ideas. Those are, sort of a menu of future possible options. They're not nothing concrete that you would be adopting through this hearing process. And then coming out of this, we're also going to get into talking about the comprehensive plan and development code recommendations, but those will be coming forth in the future. So I will pause here and we can take any questions and have any discussion based on what we've talked about. Thank you very much.
A lot of information pretty quick.
It is a lot of information.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is a lot of information. I think it was really, it was kind of an interesting day. I think it was our very first PAC meeting for the EOA was the day that Good Shepherd made the announcement that they'd purchased the property across on the other side of Main Street from here. And it was like, so Brandon, when you look at those healthcare numbers, those will go up. I mean, we will have some medical facility opportunity here. And obviously the data center conversation continues. What's interesting about the data center market is we're beginning to see in the region other providers come in. It's not just an Amazon environment that is beginning to change in both counties. You know, if you track it at all, you can see what those other options are. So when you talk about 625 acres for 5 data centers, that's really based on a model that has been an Amazon model. It'd be interesting to see when others come in, how their model might look different for how they site a facility. I think on the commercial side, it's also really interesting to think about, you know, what we have, what opportunities have come to Boardman, and what kind of opportunities we want to recruit and see come to town. We did approve a fast food restaurant, Burger King, here a while back. I think there are some other restaurant and related opportunities that are going to be coming before you over the next 6 months to a year. So there's other things out there that are happening that are going to continue to kind of consume this land. One of the things we want to do within the development code is make sure we have, our development code currently allows mixed use development, which generally means you have a commercial use on the main floor and retail above 2 or 3, you know, floor 2 for sure, and maybe a 3rd story if that's the development proposal. We have no standards for that. So one of the things we asked them to work on was to help us develop those standards, not only for the data centers, but also for that mixed use. And that's part of what's in that development code options memorandum that I've kind of said, don't talk a lot about, but I want you to at least know that we've had those conversations. We know what the holes are, and we ask them to help fill those holes.
600. I mean, does the 625 acres over the next 20 years reflect the last 5 years of data center development?
No, and I'll
Really-
kind of sort of answer that, and then I'll let Brendan take it. But no, it's not really a reflection of what has happened in the last 5 years. He can tell you economically how he goes through that process, but it's about a trend. And so it's kind of what they expect to happen. So Brendan, you want to provide any refinement to that botched answer?
No, that's a good answer. It actually does. It doesn't reflect what has happened in Boardman because of the types of land and size that's available. It is actually in line with what has been happening in the 2 counties. Development has really accelerated, and there is a little information or a page in the report that talks about the pace of data center development in the area, and I believe they're building 2 or 3 of these per year, or at least they've been getting them entitled and so on. So that is the pace, and so as we look at 20 years, with that much development in the region, the discussion is how much of that could happen in Boardman, in the immediate Boardman area, and is it part of the city policy to try to capture some of that. So but our estimate is that given the pace, and of course it's very hard to forecast what's going to happen in that industry 10, 15 years from now, but given what has been happening and the sort of unrelenting demand, then this essentially a fairly realistic forecast. our opinion.
It's important to note that again, Brendan, at the beginning of his presentation, talked about kind of this Oregon regulatory framework that we do this work within. Those 625 acres that he shows in that table for data centers is limited. This EOA, if somebody came in and said, hey, we want to do a 300-acre baby diaper production plant, that 625 acres isn't available for that kind of opportunity. We'd have to come back and rethink that. So, or if we were to zone land based on this EOA, and apply that 625 acres to a data center district or something, and somebody came in and wanted to, again, build that baby diaper plant within that 625 acre data center designation, they wouldn't be able to without us kind of going back and re-justifying that different use. And I don't know, Brendan, either maybe you or Andrew can explain that also a little bit better than I did.
No, it's a very important point. So the DLCD, the state, has really started to emphasize that if cities are going to make this kind of move to bring in this type of land, that it has a designation that limits it to data centers. So if that development doesn't come and those don't happen, that acreage will will essentially remain as it currently is, and probably still under farm use if it's farmland and so on. And if it remains that way long enough, then I'm guessing the city, in conversation with the state, would start to talk about, do we need to take this back out of the urban growth boundary? It's not development. It's not. That would be for the Andrew.
Yep.
Can you add to that?
I'll just add that the reason that that's the case is because the EOA identifies data centers explicitly as the 625 acres. I mean, general industrial need is something that is calculated in here, and that's those 10 sites, 105 acres. Industrial production that isn't quite so large is still accounted for, but it's just because we are saying that there's a specific need for data centers. The state will want to see that land actually gets used for that use, and the city is going to need to adopt some kind of policies and requirements to say, we expanded the UGB for this use, and we are going to require that that's what actually happens there, and not residential uses or things like that.
How many acres did you say each data center takes?
About 125. And that accounts for the data center and the associated substation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they kind of vary. I mean, when you go around and look at them, you can see them on Google Earth or a map, and you can look at how large the parcels are. Some of them are as small as 80. Some of them are as large as 120, a little more than 120.
Like a circle, a little less.
Yeah. Yep. The circle is the calculations doesn't. I mean, they like them long and rectangular. It's how they build the buildings. So the size is equivalent, but the shape. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yep. It's a good analysis. Yeah. Each one of these takes about a circle out of 160 acre. If you've got a 160 acre parcel, you're taking the circle out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, Brendan and Andrew, we all talk in agricultural terms around here.
Sorry about that.
It's good. It's a good measurement. I like that.
12 towers.
What was that?
12 towers.
12 towers? Okay. Yeah.
Used to be 10.
Any other questions for Brendan or Andrew? Cool. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So with that would conclude the staff report.
Okay. Did we receive any correspondence additional?
Not to this.
Okay. Is there anything to speak for in favor of the application aside from what we just heard?
Come on in, Rod. You're over here. Yes, you did. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Taylor has arrived. So we'll welcome new members again here in a bit. Cool. I'm sorry, Zach, what was the question?
So we're at the point of speaking in favor of the application. Is there anything else to add in addition to what we heard in the staff report from the applicant?
No, that staff report is the applicant's
Okay, I just want to make
presentation.
sure there was nothing
Yep.
else. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So is there anyone else that wishes to speak against the application? Okay, is there anyone that has any neutral testimony?
That's all right.
Okay, so we do not need to go over rebuttal then. The public testimony portion of the hearing is now closed. Does anyone have any questions for staff?
No, I don't.
I don't. I'm already seeing the information. It's a recap.
Did you have a question?
No, I already asked my question.
Oh, okay. Cool. I like it when there's no questions.
Or Rod,
Do you pass this
any questions for you or?
No questions.
Okay.
I'll bring them up to speed later.
Is there any discussion from the commission? Or are we prepared to make a motion? If there's no discussion, I would entertain either a motion to either move forward with the EOA as presented, or if there is any amendments someone is desiring, or either to not move forward with the EOA.
I moved forward it, the EOA, and as presented as presented with
Okay.
to adopt recommendation.
Okay, to recommend to the city council to do adopt.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, so Ragnar second. So there's a motion and a second to move forward
I'll
with the.
second.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. With the EOA economic opportunity analysis as presented to the council with a do adopt recommendation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Okay, majority wins, motion passes.
Right. Thank you. And thank you, Brendan and Andrew. You're welcome to stick around, but you do not need to.
Really
Thanks,
appreciate
everyone.
your gentleman's time. Thank you for presenting that again.
Thanks.
Do we have any updates from?
Yeah, so planning official update was in your packet. It's, as I was sharing earlier when we were talking about the residential item that I had you continue, the last couple of months have just been really focused on kind of getting we've been doing this strategic planning and all of this work for over a year now. And starting in November, well, actually October, you guys started hearing, we had the public hearings for the TSP and then the Parks Master Plan and now the EOA. And your public hearings were followed by the City Council's public hearings. So the TSP has been adopted by the city. Caveat here, it still has to be co-adopted by the county. They delayed their hearings process. So we have the first County Planning Commission hearing on the 27th of this month, and the Board of Commissioners won't hear it until the 18th of next month. So I don't know how they'll do their ordinance reading. That's one of the questions I need to confirm with the County Planning Director. But we should have the TSP co-adopted shortly thereafter. An appeal has already been submitted against the TSP, so we know that's going to be going on. The Parks Master Plan was actually adopted by the City Council earlier this week, Tuesday night. The Park District withdrew from the joint public hearing process. They will adopt the Parks Master Plan later this month at one of their regular meetings. And now tonight we've started the adoption process for the EOA. So again, this goes in front of the council. Thank you for your recommendation tonight. It goes in front of the council on, I think it's February 3rd. Yeah, it's February 3rd. It's the first Tuesday. That will conclude 3 of the big things that we've been working on for the past, again, 18 months. When you go back to when we really started the TSP, it's been a year and a half ago. The Parks Master Plan started about the same time. And then the EOA, we had slated to start in that same time frame, but we actually asked Johnson Economics and MIG to help us with kind of some of the front end strategic planning that we did that actually came up with these 5 statements that are on the front of the dais here. So it's just been a lot of work that's been going on. We have also started the Comprehensive Plan and Development Code update, and that work will, of course, continue. We are delaying some of that and kind of reorganizing how that work is going to be done, but I'm hoping to have it done by the end of 26. And then we just kicked off our housing capacity analysis. So that work is starting. And actually, the 2 gentlemen that were here tonight just flipped their roles. And they'll be doing the HCA. So it will be, MIG will be the lead on that, and Johnson Economics is the sub, whereas with the EOA, Johnson Economics was the lead and MIG was the sub. So a lot of the buildable lands inventory for the residential side has already been done. We just need to dust it off a little bit. It's about a year old, and in this environment, a year makes a lot of difference. We've seen a lot of things happen, and we've got a lot of things kind of happening as we're going. So the HCA is started. We're hoping to wrap it up by September. And then the other thing that, based on the adoption of the TSP, we're working on an RFQ, request for qualifications, to do a refinement to the Main Street IAMP. So we'll be kicking that off hopefully by March, if all goes well. So from the perspective of the planning official update, that kind of lets you know kind of where we are, where we've been. So a couple of things will come off my monthly memo to the council. We know we need to also do some significant updates to the municipal code. And we've been looking for somebody to help us with that process for over a year, and we finally have found somebody. So we're actually going to have a scoping conversation with them here soon, and then bring them on board to help us with updates to the municipal code. And the municipal code, obviously it's not the development code, but it's got, how do we run our water system? How do we run our wastewater system? It's just got a myriad of things in it. Most of those things go to the council. The public hearing process is really non-existent for that. But we do try to make sure that it's well noticed, people know what's going on. We recently adopted transient merchant standards that have been included in our municipal code. So, at some point in time, if you have a quiet afternoon and nothing else to do, feel free to go to the city's website and read the municipal code. I say that in jest. But we live and die by it. So we're going to be working on that. I will just say that we've got a number we've had a number of pre-application meetings. We've been seeing applications come in. Some of those applications are a type 1 or a type 2 decision, but there are a few coming that we know will be here over the next several months. So sorry, there's no vacations in sight. You'll be meeting on a monthly basis. We'll continue to do this. Aurelia, anything you would add to any of that? No? Steph, I know you're up there, or you were. Yeah, there you are. You have anything you'd add?
I don't think so. I just think we just need to be prepared for a pretty busy year.
Yeah, very busy year. So I appreciate you're all here tonight and you're all committed. So I think that would conclude my update. I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
We have the housing capacity analysis, that group has been formed already, right?
Yeah, right. So the city council will appoint the public advisory committee for the housing capacity analysis on February 3rd. And as we talked about last month, Jamie had been appointed from this group or had been identified from this group to serve. She's no longer here. And y'all tagged Commissioner Taylor here for that role.
Sorry.
Yeah, so he'll be serving on the HCA. We've got about 7 or 8 people that we've identified. I think it's going to be a really good group.
Good.
So I can't recall all of them off the top of my head. Sorry. It's too much going on. So, yeah. Any other questions? And for our 2 new commissioners, I will do my best. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to, you both have my phone number, so feel free to text me or call me, come by the office, whatever. I'll do my best to kind of get you up to speed on what's been happening and kind of on what's coming. I know that Commissioner Taylor has sat through some of my trainings in the past. We're probably going to be too busy to do a lot of training over this next year, but I do have some materials I'm happy to provide that will help you kind of get a sense of what a planning commission is and what you do. So I'll either send you a link or we can have a conversation. And I understand that both of you have also been contacted by IT and now have your city email set up. So that is the city's preferred mechanism to get information out to you. I usually try to remember, and my apologies for not doing it tonight or today before the meeting. I usually try to send out a reminder and say, hey, see you tonight at 6. So I'll get better at that. All right. Again, I think that concludes my report unless there's any further questions. Okay. We do have public comment.
Do we?
We do.
Okay. If no one has anything for Carla, public comment is next.
So there is an email. Does our one member of the kind of sort of public have any public comment? Okay. I guess City Councilor Pettigrew is joining us tonight. I don't know if she has anything to share for public comment. Maybe not. We did receive an email today. Oh my, I just realized it was sent Thursday at 2:46 a.m. From Mr. Tallman. He asked that it be submitted. He wanted to be included in the official record of this planning commission meeting. It was unclear until I read later that he just wanted it included in the meeting, in the public comment section. So this is not attached to any of the hearings that were had. It's just public comment under number 9.
For the last meeting.
For this meeting.
Oh, for this one.
For this one. So we did make copies of it and provide it to you. If after you read it, if you have any questions, I will do my best to attempt to try to understand it and clarify it for you. So, Ragna, for your benefit, it has been posted to the packet on the website. So,
Yeah, I looked at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really don't have any response to the public comment. And again, in the public comment section, we accept public comment. We do not respond to public comment within the course of the meeting. So that's just kind of the city policy for both planning commission and city council. So, yeah.
But that was it? Just the email?
That was it.
And there's no one else in Zoom land?
Nope.
I cannot read the fine print on that, so
Nope.
I should probably get glasses. Okay. Any comments from commission? I'd like to say welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the new.
Yeah.
Maybe you should put Mr. Taylor on the spot and have him introduce himself too, since we did that to Commissioner Stensland.
Oh, did I miss that? Did they make you do that? Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell him what's required if you're late, what you have to bring next time.
Ooh, I didn't know about this. Is there some there's some requirements? I did not know that. Oh, okay.
Like, I guess. My name is Rod Taylor. How do I state it? I sat on the Morrow County Planning Commission for 15 years.
Was it that long? I knew it was
The
over.
first,
12.
the first 12 were a pain in the neck. Right? Farmer. Some of you may know I work at ACE too, and I do a little bit of everything. So I've lived in Morrow County for over 55 years and went to school on my own stuff. So I know almost everybody. There's a couple here I don't know now, but for the most part, that's my life. So you want
That works for me.
Nice. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
If there's no other comments, it is time to adjourn.